season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we kind of jump into our second big topic, we did want to discuss about something with the Big Ten standings. We do predict that Penn State could go 11-1, like Curtis mentioned, but they could lose a tiebreaker to Oregon or Ohio State, who goes to the Big Ten championship. So what does that mean for the Big Ten? Well, Coach Matt Rhule said during Big Ten Media Days that he believes that the Big Ten deserves 4 teams in the playoff every year with how difficult the league is. He got a lot of heat for saying that. I'll start with you, Max. Do you agree with people giving him a hard time for this? Do you think that the Big Ten deserves 4 teams at least or at most in the college football playoff? Um, and which teams would you think deserve to be in there this year?
Yeah, I mean, deserve no, but that totally depends on the season. Like, it's hard to say
Right.
they just deserve it because if that fourth team is 8-4, like, then no, they probably don't deserve to be in.
Right.
But will they have four? I mean, the way like we just saw with Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Iowa, USC, if Kirk is right and Rutgers, like there could be other teams that slip up there too. So it's not like it's impossible to get 4 teams, but saying they deserve 4 teams no matter what, just based off schedules, I think is bogus. And I think any conference, I don't think that should be the case. We can't all be Notre Dame and just say we just deserve a spot because we're special. So
uh, yeah. I completely agree with that. I think just chalking in 4 spots for the Big Ten and 4 spots for the SEC every year, it's just lame. I mean, it defeats the purpose and a little bit of the pageantry of college football. Like anybody could make it. There's 12 spots open now. If you just take 4 away for that conference and 4 away for that, yeah, there's a lot of team in those conferences now. But and it probably will turn out that way, to be honest. That 4 teams from the Big Ten make it in a lot of the time, and at least 4 from the SEC. They're going to put 5 teams in this year from the SEC. I know they will. That's just how they're gonna go about it. So the SEC is going to get at least 4, probably 5. That's my prediction. And yeah, I don't think you can just set up ahead of time just 4 spots for a conference. That's ridiculous, especially if there are like multiple um non-power 4 teams having a big year. I know Boise is expected to be one of those teams in contention this year. I know Memphis is potentially one of those teams in contention this year. Like, what if those are both looking like 2 of the top 12 teams by the end of the year? But then if you were to have set those up ahead of time, then only one of them gets that spot. So I think it's not a good idea to have that predetermined, to be honest.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't think what he said was that ludicrous. Like, yeah,
Right.
the Big Ten's going to be one of the top 2 conferences in the country this year.
Yeah. I agree. There's no argument here. I think he just chose his words wrong. I think I know what he meant. He meant, maybe not, hey, you have to slot 4 teams from the Big Ten in the playoff every year. I think I would like to think he was more saying, we have great teams here in the Big Ten. It's a gauntlet, realistically, you could argue that 4 teams should be in there for scheduling purposes if they're good enough and they win most of their games. But yeah, and Kurt, you said it perfectly. You can't just allot slots to SEC teams and Big Ten teams. We know that there are some people out there. Maybe I'm a hater, but we know that there's going to be people up in arms if they're not 4 or 5 SEC teams in the college
Right.
football playoff this year. That's just kind of the nature of the beast down there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what this expanded playoff was for. It's for, these smaller teams that you have a 12-0 team, 11-1 team from a non-power 4, conference team. That's what makes it fun. They kind of slip in there and maybe they can make a run in the playoff or win a game that's,
Right.
unthinkable. But that's the fun about college football. And I hope that they preserve that part of the game that's already changed so much in the past few years.